United States History and the Dancing Rabbit Creek Treaty. Now, this subscriber on my YouTube page, which I definitely suggest that you follow, Jacolius Gems, the logo, and the link is on my TikTok page. They began to state that the British and the Celtic also used the rabbit as a sign of protection and good luck. Now, when we begin to look at the word good in Hebrew, it is tov. This is going to consist of the tov, which means oath, sign, symbol. It can also be the symbol for death. We know that in Hebrew, the word for death is mot, and this would be Maat in ancient Egypt, whom is the goddess of wisdom as well as the goddess of death. The first letter would be a mem, or the letter M in Hebrew, ending with the tov. The M begins to not only signify the waters, but it begins to represent people, languages, nations, and tongues. So when we begin to continue to look at, and the second letter of the word tov, or good in Hebrew, is going to be the bet. This is the letter B as well as the letter V. So when we begin to look, and Yeshu, or who the world likes to call Jesus, begins to say, call no man good, for only our Father in heaven is good. The book of Proverbs, I believe 8:22, begins to declare that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So this is correlating the woman who is found to be a wife with the Most High in heaven. When we begin to continue to look at the origins of this word rabbits in ancient Egypt and in what it begins to represent, we see that the RBT, that RB, of course, in English would be rib, okay? And so when we begin to look at the woman in the garden, it begins to state that the inward nature of Adam was placed on the inside of this woman to allow her to become a living soul. This inward nature literally is Haya. This is the breath of life. And when the flesh began to grow on her bones, so this made Eve literally all good, all God. She was not made in the image and the likeness of the creator deity. She was made out of the breath of life, which makes man a living soul, and flesh began to grow up on her bones, making her good because she became a wife. Therefore, she represented the sign and the symbol and the oath of deliverance, which is what that word means with helpmeet. It means azir, which is deliverer, making Eve, whose name is really Hava, this is a very popular name in West Africa, the first deliverer. Well, why would Adam need deliverance? Thank you so much for asking. Now, that's actually something my daddy said when he be preaching. When you begin to look at the word gardon in Hebrew, this word is gon. This is the gamel and the noon. This word is janine in Arabic. And this word literally means enclosure, to be fenced. So he was enclosed. He was trapped in. When we begin to look at Genesis 2:14, it begins to state that Adam was created to dress the garden, to dress this enclosure, this fencing. The word dress right there is going to be till. That word is abad. This word literally means to be a servant, to be a slave. When Adam was put to sleep, he was found with his bone broken and in a weakened state, which is why Yeshu, who became the name of the Most High, Isaiah 12:1 and 2, and I believe Psalms 119 and 86. I could be wrong, but I do know that it's Psalms something. That the one who comes in my name to bind the sacrifice will become my salvation. When you begin to look at the last verse of Psalms 91, it literally said that Yeshu. So he came and his bones was not broken, and he was not found in a weakened state. And this is why the church begins to propagate that he was the second Adam, so on and so forth. So when you begin to see Eve as the Azir, she was the deliverer, right? When we begin to look at the word Rabbah in Hebrew, which is going to be the root of this rabbit, it's very, very, very important to know that this is why Yeshu, or Jesus, begins to state, call no man Rabbah. Yes, we can say that this means Lord, this means master. Let's look at this in a cultural concept. When we begin to go into ancient Egypt, the RBT literally was standing for Asherah. This was the fertility deity, or the mother goddess. When we begin to look at the Semek in the ancient Hebrew, this is one of the letter S's. This makes a circle. This is what begins to create the circle that we use today. This word is literally called the shield and the protector. It is the circle. It's essential to know that when we begin to look in the book of Ecclesiastics, the Torah is known as the fence. This is the hedge of protection, not the creation of the garden that Adam was trapped on the inside of. The hedge of protection was supposed to be the Torah, which is the light at creation, which is the spirit of wisdom, which according to the book of Proverbs is the mother who finds her rest amongst the son of men. So when we begin to look at Asherah being worshipped in the grove, she was actually torn apart from her worship due to Yahweh coming in with the worship under the Levites. El Shaddai is the breasted one. That literally means breast, human mammary. This was seen as the mother goddess. When you begin to look all the way back into 9000 BC, Yeshua began to tell us that no man has seen or known the Father. But Moses supposedly had a face-to-face encounter. Yet Yeshua began to describe the Ruach HaKodesh as wisdom and her children. So in the Near Eastern concept, they began to teach that Hashem was the Father that no man operated with, that he was outside of the human construct, and that the spirit of wisdom, the mother, made man a living soul, which is why in the book of Proverbs, she begins to say, I was there in the beginning when the foundations of the earth was laid. Through me, he possessed me. And what was there in the beginning? The Torah, which would go into Ha-Torah. And the Hey in the ancient Hebrew is a definite article meaning the. So Hatorah, Ha-Torah is the Torah. In ancient Egypt, this would literally be Hathor, which goes into the sacred cow. I got a lot on this, but the fertility deity, the rabbit, the egg, the womb, the embryo, El Shaddai, the breasted mother, the spirit of wisdom, followed her people. Full thought.